What up, Reason Gang? It's A.iz. I'm cooking up a lo-fi beat today in Reason Studios, and I wanted to show you kind of my process. You can see how I'm treating my drums, the kind of players I'm using, the type of instruments I'm using, how I'm getting my samples, how I'm swinging the drums. So if you're interested in any of that, check this out. So let me show you what I like to do when I'm starting a new song idea in Reason Studios. I go to this master section, go to Show Insert Effects, and I put a VU meter on, which you see right here. The Oxford inflator I like. Sometimes I put this on, sometimes I don't. Today I have it on. I just have the curve up effect all the way up. I just like what it does to the low end, and I know later when I mix I like to put this on, so I just like to hear it with it. And then lately I've been using this God particle. Sometimes I'll just use a limiter, but for this one I'm using the God particle, and I just basically have it set at all its default settings. I'm bringing the output down a little bit because it was a little loud for this video. But yeah, that's it. And I just kind of like to put all that stuff on so that the track is loud while I'm building it. And I hear the track going through limiting and compression on the master bus because I know I'm going to do that later on anyway. So I kind of want to hear it from the get-go. And I'm always checking this VU meter just to see where I'm at. I try to keep it around 0. I'll just hide it to the side here while I'm working so I just see that one little bit there. So let's start with the first two synths that I got going on here. So this first pad type sound is called Low Pop Shimmer Combinator from Reason Plus. I'll show you where I got this. So if you pay for Reason Companion, which is kind of like Splice for Reason, it's really awesome because you get access to all these different instruments that you can download and use as combinators or NNXTs or whatever somebody made them as. So I knew I wanted to do a lo-fi track. So I typed in lo-fi here. Here we go. And look at all these different lo-fi packs that we got going on. Now, I have the lo-fi pop one, which is right here by Sean Murray. So if you click on a lo-fi pop, you get all these different things in it. I just downloaded it. When you download it, it shows up in your browser over here in sound packs, and you can see all the different sound packs I've downloaded from the Reason Companion. So that's just a lo-fi pop. So to get the chord progression here, I just went to my players and I got the chord sequencer. And you see you got all these different types of presets right here, different genres. And I picked a jazz and fusion one called Big Apple Jazz. And what this allows me to do now is when I have these keys selected, which I just got them selected, I can play all these different notes. So, you know, I was playing my riff. And that's it. That's how I got that sound. I got really nothing on here. Oh, I'm EQing a lot of the low end out and a lot of the high end out. So I know I'm doing a lo-fi track, so I want to take out a lot of high end out of a lot of stuff. And I think you'll see that I'm doing that with a bunch of other tracks. So when you're thinking lo-fi, I'm thinking like kind of muffled and like underneath a pillow or something. So I'm just going to pull out a lot of high end. So that's this first synth. So the other main instrument I have going on is this organic electric piano. This is also from a Reason Companion pack called Organic Elements. And again, I'm doing the same thing with this chord sequencer, same chord progression. But this one I put on the retro color. You see here? Pulling out some low end, pulling out a bunch of high end, distorting it, giving it some wobble. Listen to this wobble. Just giving it a little wobble. And then I've got this Shep's Omni channel, giving it some preamp saturation, some EQ, some compression. So listen to what this sounds like when I take all these effects off. It's kind of plain. With it on. So if you're doing lo-fi stuff, you should definitely check out this RC20. This is a great plugin if you don't have it. It just does all kinds of cool tape wobbles and noise and just makes stuff sound really cool. So basically for the drums, I got 3 things going on in this redrum. I just programmed a beat. I'm using a kick and a clap and a hi-hat loop. I'm using a Cymatics Lo-Fi pack. So got all these Lo-Fi kicks, and I also have a clap over here. Let me just show you on the redrum what I'm doing here. You see that I have this pitched up to 24 and I have the tone down here to 64, negative 64. And again, I'm just trying to take that high end off the drum. Listen to this tone without it. Now with it. It's just taking out that high end so that the drum feels kind of muffled and lo-fi, and that's what I'm going for. The clap has nothing on it. So also on the drums, I'll mess with this EQ. I'm pulling out a bunch of the high end on the EQ as well for the kick. And on the clap, oh, it looks like I'm doing nothing. All right, that's what that sounds like. And if you notice with my redrum, one of the first things I do when I open a redrum is I'll push tab and I'll hook up individual channels to each of the inputs or each of the outputs of the redrum so that I can control all the drums separately. So when I program them on here, you know, I can lower or raise the kick if I want to, all separately. So I've got this Cymatics Lo-Fi hi-hat loop going on here too, and I'm pulling out this snare hit. You see here? You see how I've muted it? See, I don't want it there, so I'll probably just delete these. Command C, copy, paste, and now I have it all here. All right. And on that, I have the RC20. Also giving it some wobble, some distortion, some digital. And look at, I'm pulling out all this low end and some high end, just making it sound weird. Check it out without it. Much more high-endy, obviously louder. And now with it. And another thing I do with all my drum tracks is I'll click them all, hold down Shift, select them all, right-click, and route them to a new output bus, which I already have, called drums, so that all my drums are going to this one thing. So I can put bus processing on it. Oh, you can see right here, I already have bus processing on here. Take it off. This is another great lo-fi effect, the Sketch Cassette 2. This thing just emulates different types of tapes, has noise, saturation, can bounce stuff around. Very cool. I'll mess with it real quick. Anytime I put effects like that on a bus, the volume usually rises, so I like this gain tool in Reason. If you're looking for this, you right-click, go to Utility Devices, and the gain tool's right here. And you just throw this on and put the volume down so that I don't have to touch these things. As you can see here, I like to keep most of my faders just at 0 and do all my gain staging on the effects. When it comes to like lo-fi hip-hop type beats like this, you want that laid back feel. So I am swinging the drums so they're a little bit behind, especially the clap, it's a little behind. I want to show you how I'm doing that, an easy way to do it in Reason. If you go down to this groove, you'll see that A1 here is shuffling 56% and A2 here is shuffling 71% and sliding 29 ticks, which sliding moves it back or forward. Check this out. On my redrum track, I separated the kick and the clap. So here's the kick, lo-fi kick right here, and I have it on A1. It's 56 shuffle. The clap I have on A2. Shuffle 71%, slide 29%. So if I was to take those off, no channel, no channel, listen to what these drums sound like. Play here. Now we'll turn it back on. This is A1, this one's A2. Here we go. You can feel that the clap is behind. And if you want to see it, if you don't want to keep this on and you want to see where the MIDI is, you can zoom in here. You can go click here, right click, and go commit to groove. So watch, before I commit to groove, just watch these MIDI tracks when I click this. So let's look at it. Let's look at the 16th note. See where that is? Let's look at what happens when I play commit to groove. Oh, it's back. See how it pushed it back? So that's what it's doing when it's on. It's pushing it back that much from the grid. It also moved the kick too, because you can see right here that this hit is off. Any of those secondary beats here. Right, so if I edit undo, we should see them move back to the 16th notes. Let's see. So you see now that they're both on the grid. That's on the grid, that's on the grid. But the regroove here, A2 and A1, is actually swinging it for us. So the regroove mixer is just a great way to mess with the swing of your drums. If you're not sure how hard you want to swing something, just put this on, mess with the slide and the shuffle, and do it really hard or do it very little, but just see what feels good to you. It's a great way to do it very quickly. So check it out. And the last thing I got going on is this lo-fi pop sub bass. This is also another combinator from that lo-fi pack. Check this out. Oops. Cool about the build of these combinators is that you get all these options to mess with the sound. You can mess with the oscillators here, the filter, saturation, a parallel drive. Then of course, you know, the master volume. It's a great sounding just sub bass. Really dig this one. Here it is alone. It just fills up all that low end. And the last two things I got going on right now is just a sweep up and a big verb clap. And that just kind of leads us into the song here. It's good to put transitions like this to lead us from one section to another. I'll just drag and drop them right onto the grid here. Check this out. So yeah, that's the beat. And there's one last thing I was thinking of doing, which is putting in a cool lo-fi piano. Check out the Radical piano if you're looking for lo-fi pianos. You can really do a lot of cool stuff with this. Let me show you kind of what I got going on here. I like this Brooklyn indie pop piano. And I have nothing on it. I'm pulling out some low end, but hear how out of tune it gets? Could go lower. I like it because I can put ambience here. And it has this drift knob. That's really what's making it sound funky. Check this out. So it'd just be real drifty. Hear how it just falls out of tune like that? And you could even make it even more subdued. This character knob does a lot. So, you know, sometimes I'll put something like that on and try to think of like a melodic line. But let's make it even more lo-fi, grab an effect. And reason I really like this Audiomatic retro transformer, I like this wash. Maybe that's too much. Psych. Okay, this might do it for me. Just take some of the drum. Let's see if I can get this in here. I think this is in C minor, so I'll put this scale and chords on here. I'll put it on single note, put it on C minor. So now I know that every note I hit should be correct. So let's see what this sounds like. So that's a way I'd use this scales and chords player to help me quickly come up with a line or an interesting melody for this song. But definitely check out this Radical piano for lo-fi piano parts because I think it sounds really cool. So here it is straight through. All right, so that's how I started building this lo-fi beat today in Reason. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something new. Definitely follow along. Give me a subscribe on YouTube. If there's any video requests or something you want to learn, please write in the comments because I'm trying to think of things to make videos about and I would love your feedback. Have a good one. Peace.